Okay, I thought it might be fun today to do sort of a live video. I mean, it's not live in the fact that we're not watching it live, but I'm alive. It's not a voiceover. I'm alive. Okay, so what shall we make today? Well, I forgot to use this blue amazing paper in the Last Simon Says stamp kit, so we're going to play with this today. Okay, so the first thing I did was cut down my paper here to make it much more manageable, and this is sort of like clothy paper, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine so that I can get some different kind of sizes of waves. And so this is going to be my wave paper. Alright, so I have my 3 pieces here, and so I'm going to make the smallest wave at the top, and then the medium wave, and then the large wave. And so there we have, look how pretty that is. Oh, that paper is gorgeous. Alright, so let's work on a background. I'm going to do an easy background here. So the colors that came with the kit, I'm just going to place them down. So we have Tumbled Glass and Stormy Sky. We're going to spray those down with some water. And then I'm going to take some Canson XL watercolor paper. I totally didn't grab Canson. I grabbed Bristol. But wow, look how pretty that is. That's great. That looks really good. So I did not grab the right paper, but I'm going to let that dry because that looks pretty. And then we're going to take a little bit more of the colors here because they mixed a little bit on my craft mat. So we'll do that, and we're just going to pick it up, and we're going to get that soft background. So although this is super pretty, it's blending a lot, and I kind of want more of a sky look. So I always like to heat set my stuff on a wooden background. Here it's just an old cutting board. I don't know if you can see it on the film here, but this brings like a purplish mix. I don't know if you can see that. So pretty. So both of them. So the Tumbled Glass and the Stormy Sky, who knew? It made a little bit of a purple. So I'm going to clean up this surface here. I just use a microfiber cloth to clean up my surface. I keep one on hand all the time. And then I'm going to do it again. Alright, so we have our 2 panels here. Love, love, love the way that those colors mixed. I think that's so pretty. So we'll put those aside. I chose this mermaid here because it looks like she's almost coming out of the water, which we're going to have in the waves. And so I thought that was going to be a good look for her. I'm going to use some VersaFine Onyx Black ink. First, I have to use my anti-static powder tool because I do not want any extra embossing powder hanging out where it doesn't need to be, okay? Alright, so we're going to ink that up. This is Bristol Smooth cardstock. I'm using that because I'm going to be using some real brush pens. So we'll switch that around. I always, if I'm in here and I'm doing stamping business, why not get another image? This way I can clean off my stamps one time and be done with it. Alright, I am going to cover this in clear embossing powder because I really love to quote-unquote watercolor with these markers with the little canals of the embossing powder. I think it makes it just a little bit easier. I'm going to color today in real time. So if you want to skip this, I will put the time on here so you can skip ahead. Alright, let's get started with the coloring. So I'm going to pull out 2 of my favorite colors here for a combination. This is going to be Eggplant Purple is this one, and the Light Magenta is this one. And so I'm going to start, I'm going to do her tail this color. So I'm going to start by putting the dark purple in where I think the shadows would lie for her, onto her tail. Okay, so That's usually how I'm going to start. Now this is just how I feel the shadows would lie. This does not mean this is to scale by any means. This is just how I'm going to put the coloring. Okay, again, I'm still working on learning how to do that and where shading should be. Now if you can see, once I put this magenta color right atop that purple, you can see that beautiful mix that it gets. So I'll show you that up close. So that is really pretty. So then I'm just going to cover that and kind of go over the purple and then pull it out a little bit. So now my shaded line has deepened quite a bit. It's gotten a lot darker because of the two mixing of the colors. Okay, so then I pull that out. Next thing I'm going to do is take my water brush, and it has a really thin end right here, and I'm going to touch the colors where the shading is and pull it out into the white of the paper. You can see me doing that there, and kind of just making sure it's like a soft mix. Going back over the darkened piece, see how it pulls out and it's a lot lighter, but yet I'm kind of solidifying that color right there against the shaded part. And I'm just going to pull that out. There we go. And I'm going to leave that alone because if I mix it too much, it's going to lose its dimension. So there is the tail. I'm going to do the same thing on the end of her fin. I'm just going to bring that purple right around some of those lines where I think you might get some dimension there. Taking the magenta back in and again going right over the same lines. Don't know what it is about this mix, but this mixing of color just brings out the most prettiest purple. And then again taking my water brush, kind of touching again along where I have placed it and then lightening it out. The greatest part about using these markers is how fun they are and how much you can just play. It really is. I'm sad that coloring kind of diminished over our adolescence life and into our adult life. So when I saw adult coloring books come back in, I was so excited about that because it's really therapeutic and it's very fun when you get to see a finished product. And then when you start dabbling with dimension and depth and making it a little bit more, it gets a little bit more exciting. So I'm going to use, actually, let's finish up her bikini top here. So I'm going to use the same colors, dark purple right in there, and pull this out. And that's all I want to do there. Go back in with my water brush. All right. Now I'm going to try to move away from this till it dries a little bit. And so I'm going to go up and work on just her little, her hair piece here. Looks like it might be a little headband of sorts. So we're going to put some, what colors am I using here? Teal. We're going to put some teal there. Something about teal and purple go together for me when it comes to ocean type cards. I love it. And next we're going to make her a blonde. So if you saw my last video, I had a redhead, a light brown, and a brunette. I'll show you those real quick. So here I have a redhead mermaid, and I have a light brown, and then dark brown hair. So I wanted to try my hand at a gold or blonde type hair, and so I'm going to take the sunset yellow and I'm going to put the sunset yellow in some of those areas, some of those crease areas where it might be a little darker, just as we did with the making the shadows with the other color. So be careful on some of the areas around here. They might still be a little bit wet, and you don't want to drag, these colors are very different, and so if we drag the colors in, it may, it's going to bleed a little bit along there. So, and then I forgot this one on the last time I colored her, so let's get that over there. And then I'm going to take Bumblebee Yellow, and I'm going to again go right over those same pieces that I colored the first time. And that's going to mix the two colors together, give me a little bit more of a deeper shadow effect. And that I'm not going to add too much. I'm not going to do a full color in because I want to do that with my water brush. Because I want this to be a light. Not many people have yellow hair. It's usually, blonde is a tricky color to color, if you ask me, because it's not quite yellow. Well, some people have yellow hair, but it's blonde. It's blonde. It's like a whitish. Well, you get what I'm saying. Okay, so I'm going to color that through here. Again, just pulling from the darker pieces, mixing where I think it needs to be mixed. There. Now these little loop-de-loops on the end, they can be a little tricky. Do you color them in? Do you not? It's obviously it's your project, so you could do whatever you want to do. So the last couple cards I did color them in, and I liked it because it actually made the hair a little bit more full, and it makes it easier when I'm fussy cutting them. So I am going to take that and color it. I don't see any color there, so I'm going to go back with my yellow and just touch upon them, and that will give me the ability to color in those loop-de-loops. Okay, so there we have her blonde hair. Okay, now for her skin tone, I'm going to use Copic. I have E13 here, and it's going to give her, actually, I'm going to go with the which one is this? E15, just on the very top of where it would be shaded, right? I don't want just where it would be shaded, because I'm going to give her a pretty light and fair skin tone. So I just used that. Then I'm going to use E13, and this is going to be a little bit more of that shading. Might be shaded around the bathing suit there, maybe on the bottom. And this one, probably I would say on the top because of her hair. Okay, and then lastly, I'm going to go in with E11, and then I'm going to, again, start in that darker area and just pull this out, and that will blend out the colors. So I was very intimidated by blending colors when I first started stamping, first started coloring more. And I used to color very flat, but I've, realized that the only way you're going to get good at something is if you practice it. And you just have to get over that hump, no matter what it is, in fact, in your life. If you're not good at something, you're never going to be unless you do it. I got a sister who's trying to get good at push-ups. So, well, the only way you're going to get good at push-ups is if you do push-ups. So you're just going to have to try to get more push-ups in. So the same thing applies to coloring and anything else. I'm going to go back with that E13, and I am going to just kind of retouch those areas up just to give it a little bit more shading. Going back in again with the E11, and again just kind of right on the edges there to blend that in. And you can kind of see this come alive. All right, good. So we're done with that. And then the last thing I want to do is add to the star. But I'm going to pull out a Winkostella in the gold, and I'm just going to color that star in. I didn't want to use a gel pen because gel pens tend to be opaque, and it would cover up all the black on the stamp, and I don't want to do that. I want to just cover the star. Okay, so we have that. Now, I can't have a mermaid without having glitter. So we are going to add glitter to this mermaid. And we're going to definitely add glitter down here on the tail. Now, as I'm doing this, keep in mind this is water reactive, right? So you want to be careful that you don't blend or mix in too much and get rid of all your hard work. So you kind of just want to let it dry if you can, as much as you can, and then go back in. And before I go into anything else, I'm going to wipe off my sparkle pen, okay? Because I'm going to then go into the blonde hair, and I do not want her hair to have purple streaks. Although, as I say it out loud, that is kind of cool. That might be something to do for the next one. Purple streaks. Okay, so she's all sparkly. I'm going to show you a close-up of that. And you can kind of see with the light hitting it. All right, so I'm going to fussy cut this and we'll be right back. Okay, so here we have her all fussy cut out, ready to go. It's not perfect, but I did try to leave a little white border around her because I always like that look. So the next thing we're going to do is take our piece of paper back in, and I'm actually going to spritz this because, again, it's got a sparkle. So I am going to bring in my shimmer spritz, and I'm always speeding this stuff up on my regular videos, but look at three spritz. That's all you need in this life. That stuff is amazing. And now I'm going to give you a close-up so you can see it's almost as if you took your whole Spectrum Noir marker and just ran it right over that. So it's amazing. Now it is Distress Oxide, so I can probably get a little bit of that reactive look if I tap it off, which I did. Just a tiny bit. We want to use this for the sentiment because it matches beautifully. We want to test it out to see if it's dry enough. So with my anti-static powder tool, I'm going to run that right over where I would put my sentiment, and then we're going to see if it's dry enough. And it is dry enough. So I'm going to do my anti-static powder again, and then I'm going to use the Simon Says Stamp Sticky Ink that came with the kit. And we are using Mermaid, let me start over. Make a Wish Upon a Starfish. So we get that all nice and straight. Now this is my magnetic mat, which I'm going to use right now because my paper is a little bit warped. So I pulled out some magnets, and I'm just going to hold that down in place for me. And now I am going to stamp Make a Wish Upon a Starfish. I love this magnetic mat. It is like my new favorite thing. And then we are going to, that's not it. There's nothing over there, Mary. Let's try this end. That clear ink is hard to see. Do it again. You see that shine from there? It's so pretty. All right, off camera, I added some foam tape to my waves and put the waves together. And then I am just going to put those down. Gosh, those complement each other nice, huh? All right, and then I'm going to work in my mermaid here. So because she is going to be in this right here, I'm going to put some foam tape right behind her head there. Okay, so you can see I did some foam tape up here where it's going to be sticky, where she'll be sticking out, and then glue everywhere else. I want to make sure I don't cover her too much, almost just look like she's coming up out of the water. And lastly, to put on my 110-pound Unisolar white card base, I just used some really strong double-sided adhesive, so that way I could combat any warping that might take place with the card. So place that down. You gotta commit once you commit. And then, yeah, that'll do it for the card. I don't think I'm gonna add any extra embellishments for this. I think that as is right now, it'd be kind of easy to ship through the mail. So I think I'm gonna leave it just like it is. That will wrap up this card. Thank you so much for joining me. I will not be doing these, quote, live ones very often. I just wanted to get over here and use this blue paper and craft with you all. And I'd love to hear what you thought about it in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss anything from me. And I will list everything I used below in the description of the video. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.